Hello! Hello! This is a recording. I don't know what I'm recording. I just pressed the button. Because I am a perfectionist. And if something's not going to be done right, I'd prefer not to do it at all. That's not true. I put it off until I can do it perfectly, but that doesn't happen. Nobody does that. Nobody does anything perfectly. The first time they try, it just doesn't happen. Sorry. I have no idea what I'm doing. Right. So I guess I'll tell you a little bit about what I had imagined for my YouTube channel. If you go on there right now, the first video that pops up is going to be a trailer for a series. I was going to read books. On my channel, put them online for people to listen. It's going to be called CapeRights Book Club, because CapeRights is all that I am, and that's what a book club is. I was going to read a chapter every video, maybe on video, maybe just audio. I don't know. And then I was gonna discuss it a little bit, what I thought, what other people thought, people could read along, because I can never get through books, which is also a reason that I never actually did that. But I cannot get through books, so maybe it would help if other people had someone to read along with them to discuss themes and, I don't know, characters and stuff. I don't know. This, however, is, I guess, a podcast? I don't know. I'm just going to be talking into this microphone for, I guess, as long as I want. Oh god, I'm only 2 minutes in. Well, I guess I can elaborate. So, my channel is currently filled with just a random assortment of videos I decided to post. It's mostly me reading stuff. A lot of it's original poetry. Ugh. I would not listen to those personally, just because no one likes to listen to your own voice on, being recorded, played back to you. Is just something about it. I don't know. It just gives me ugh, I hate it. But I don't know, some people might enjoy them. I do write a lot of poetry. I'm a writer. I would like to be a writer that gets paid money for writing. If I don't get to do that, that's fine too. I don't really care so long as I just write. Because the joy of writing for me is writing. Having ideas and putting ideas out there and creating something. It's nice. So if I don't ever get paid to do that, I wouldn't care, so long as I had it out there. Because I put stuff off. I've been putting this off for a week or two now, and it's literally just me talking into a microphone. There is no plan here whatsoever. But this is probably going to be CapeRights Book Club Episode 1, because the book club is now a lie, because I made a little logo thing for the reading of books. But since I'm no longer going to be doing that, I'm lying to you all now. The book club is just me talking, I guess. I don't know. Maybe I'll read. Maybe I'll make that a thing that I do during this. I don't know. Maybe this will never see the light of day, which is an odd thought, as it is an audio recording. Regardless, I don't know if this will ever get out there, so I'm not putting my best foot forward. But this is me, raw and unfiltered. Maybe you guys will like it. I don't really care. It's just something to kill time. I have a lot of that. I have maybe around 60 years of time to kill. I'm 21 now. I've been 21 for about a month. Yeah, about a month. So I've got maybe like 40 years left. I don't know. That's not thinking very optimistically, but I also don't want to die at like 150. That would be miserable. I can barely move as it is. I don't want to have other people feed me and tuck me into bed and stuff. I don't know. I never thought about the rest of my life. Like, for example, in kindergarten, or just elementary school in general, kindergarten through 5th grade, we'd have, playground time, and I never played with anybody. I was just alone by myself. I sat in the shade and I thought about things like, existence and life and the beginning and the end of things. And I thought about my death a lot, like how I'm going to be like an old guy, and like, am I going to be surrounded by people? Am I going to be alone? Am I going to be like just watching TV and just like dead? Or I don't know. I thought about my death for probably as much as anybody does, which is a lot. But I never thought about like the in between. I never thought about where I'd get to, just like the beginning and the end. I guess it was never as interesting. I like endings. I love endings. I like films. I love films. I go see a film every Tuesday at my local movie theater. It's a Cinemark 12. That means they have 12 screens, and Tuesdays are discount days. So it's a movie ticket for, I think, $4.75, which is not bad, seeing as how weekend prices can get up to like $8 something. That's like only for something I really enjoy, like Spider-Man or any other superhero film. I would go to the first showing, of course, but any other film, probably not. But endings. I was on endings. That's right. I'm going to get... forewarning, I'm going to get very, very sidetracked if this does become a thing. And I will most likely never finish sentences. The Dark Knight Rises had an ending. It wasn't... Some say it wasn't a very good ending, but it was an ending. And I applaud that, because ending a comic book character is... not something a lot of people would be willing to do. Logan is one of the best films of my time. Definitely best superhero film. One of the best superhero films of my time. Probably a good film. I don't know. I haven't seen a lot of the classics. The current classics? What are they called? The good movies, I guess. But it was an ending. I love movies with endings. Some of you would say, like, all movies have endings. But no, they don't. A lot of them leave room open for sequels. And a lot of franchises die that way. Just open-ended. For example, perfect example, The Amazing Spider-Man 2 set up the Sinister Six and never got another film. It might. I will never say never again. After Spidey came back to the MCU, I never thought I'd see the day, but there it was. I am 21. The Marvel Cinematic Universe began with Iron Man in 2008. Going to see it in the theater, I had no idea what it would become. I had no idea that the Marvel Cinematic Universe would be my coming of age. Not gonna bother to do the math. Wait, I can do the math. So I was 11. It was 10 years ago, and it probably came out before my birthday, which is September 23rd. So I was 11. I wasn't even a teen yet. my entire teen years was Marvel Cinematic Universe. You know, a lot of people feel displaced in their time, but I feel like I hit the sweet spot. Like, I got to go see the first Spider-Man in theaters. I love Spider-Man. I love that I was alive for the terrible, the god-awful black leather trench coat superhero movies of the early 2000s. I love that I have a nostalgia for that, because I doubt that I would have enjoyed it if I hadn't been born. But I got to see superhero movies become big, and I remember noticing that, and I don't want to say I'm a hipster, but like, when things become cool, they become oversaturated, and then you just lose interest, I guess. I don't know. I lose interest a bit, because it's like, you hear like all about this thing, and I don't know. It sounds like I'm a hipster. I'm gonna stop talking about this, because it sounds like I'm a hipster. But, I don't know, where was I? I am looking at my blue snowball microphone, and I see how there are tiny little lightning marks on either side of the blue logo. So now I'm going to talk about The Flash and DC TV, which, I mean, this podcast is so varying. Superheroes, and now superheroes. I'm going to talk about superheroes a lot. The Flash, I just caught up with all the DC TV. Well, I say caught up. I just finished the last season of all the DC TV shows. Supergirl was the last one I finished. I watched them in this order: The Flash, Legends of Tomorrow, Arrow, Supergirl. And this is why I watched them in that order. I like The Flash. It ties into the others the most, I guess. It like mentions multiverses, and they talk about different things, and he goes into time and stuff. The Flash is cool. I watched 3 seasons of Arrow to start The Flash. That's what I did before The Flash started. Then I watched Legends of Tomorrow, because it's my favorite. It's just so... It's goofy. That's the only way to describe it. It's goofy. And that has the highest chance of having odd DC cameos. For example, Jonah Hex was in an episode, the Justice Society of America. Now, forgive me if I get any of this stuff wrong. I am not the world's biggest DC fan. I'm also not the world's biggest Marvel fan. I'm a big fan of Spider-Man and Batman. I say fan. I'm a big fan. I'm not the most knowledgeable, nor do I try to be. If I get anything wrong, just leave an angry comment and send death threats. But this season on Legends of Tomorrow, Constantine is gonna appear. I heard that, and I was like, what? Because I love Constantine. I loved it as a show, and then it came on to Arrow, which made it officially part of the Arrowverse, and I was just so happy. I watched that one live. I usually watch them after they've aired on my laptop, contracting untold number of viruses. But Constantine was such a good show. And now they're doing a CW Seed animated show like Vixen, who then later appeared on Arrow, and an ancestor on Legends of Tomorrow. And I am excited. I am so excited. I might keep up this... I say I might keep up this year, or this season, but I probably won't. Though I might, because the crossover looks really good. Really, really good. They're going to bring in the Ray, who is going to be in a different animated CW Seed show that hasn't happened yet. It's, I'm getting too into it. Into the off on tangents on DC TV because there's so much backstory to cover. So I'm gonna not. And then Arrow, the show I watched third. That's what I was talking about. Because it's closest to The Flash, honestly. And, since it was the first show that I saw, I'm really invested now. I guess. I guess I'm invested. It's an okay show. And then Supergirl, because even though it makes me cry, it's the most distant of the Arrowverse, because it takes place in Earth 39, an alternate universe. So that's why I finished that one last. I watched Gotham. I just finished Gotham before I finished Supergirl. It's good? I don't know. It's not your daddy's Batman, but it's good. I enjoy it. I wouldn't say it's addicting, but I got addicted this season. Of course that happens every season. I fall back. I fall behind, and then I miss episodes, and it's just terrible. That's when I end up binging them on Netflix after they've been uploaded, which is a bad habit? I don't know. What is that dinging? Sorry, I heard a dinging. Oh. I guess I can talk about this. I read this thing for this guy. And it was just giving me feedback on a line I did for it. It's a Bionicle thing. I love Bionicle. I've been a fan since it started back in 2000, 2001. I was but a child, but I was a fan. Even though I never read any of the books or comics, I collected the sets and I watched the movies. I didn't know what I didn't know. I was missing out on so much story by not reading the books and comics. I will eventually. When G2 came out and then was subsequently canceled, I got all of the books, even though it was 3, and probably because it was 3, because I wanted the lore this time, even though it was over. Hey, they said it was otherwise fantastic. But yeah, the lore, because it ended, and I like endings, even if they're bad endings. Oh my god. Let me talk to you about Breaking Bad. So, that was a show. It was a show, and it's probably my favorite show to ever happen. I enjoy it, and I will be mentioning it an awful lot if this continues. Sorry, my mouth is dry. I'm not used to talking. I am very quiet. I'm a very quiet, reserved fellow. But I do love Breaking Bad, and I love Better Call Saul. Oh, Jimmy. He tugs at my heartstrings. Ooh, speaking of tugging at my heartstrings, do any of you out there listen to the Night Vale podcasts? The Night Vale Presents podcasts, I'm sorry. The ones with, Welcome to Night Vale, Alice Isn't Dead, Within the Wires, which is my favorite, and I just blanked, and The Orbiting Human Circus of the Air, featuring Julian Coster, who I'm now super in love with. I went to go see a live show, and then I listened to all of his stuff, Neutral Milk Hotel, and just stuff that he was involved in, and I love him. Like, he makes my heart smile. I don't know how else to say it. But, yeah. Orbiting Human Circus of the Air just makes my heart smile. And I recommend that podcast infinitely better than whatever this train wreck is. Should I make it 30 minutes or an hour? I'll do 30 minutes. It's easier for me, because I don't like talking. Alice Isn't Dead is also incredible. And it got picked up for a TV show, which, bravo, Joseph Fink. Yeah, I think it's Joseph Fink. I'm not going to look it up. I'm going to be confident and smile. I smiled. You can't see. Speaking of funny things that aren't really funny, I watched Powerless, and I love it. For those of you who don't know, it's a DC, or it was a DC comedy that lasted like 5 or 6 episodes before it got taken off the air. And I watched all 12 or 11. I'm not sure if I finished it. But I loved it. Alan Tudyk is my favorite man. Oh god, I love Alan Tudyk. He's so funny. Speaking of Alan Tudyk, go watch Dollhouse. I'm still crying over it. It's one of those Joss Whedon things. It was very good. Speaking of Joss Whedon, I'm watching Buffy the Vampire Slayer. This is gonna happen a lot. I'm gonna jump from one subject to another, and I hope it doesn't happen, but it will. I'm lying to you if I say that it won't happen. Buffy the Vampire Slayer is good. It's awfully 90s, but I'm a fan because now the references are not only dated, they make me laugh. Speaking of things that make me laugh, Hocus Pocus is on tonight, and I'm going to be watching Hocus Pocus, eating some pizza, which I will do, hopefully, hundreds of times before I die. I am not dying, by the way. I am not dying currently. I will eventually, but not right now. At least that I know. But yeah, I don't know where it's going to be from. Probably Papa John's, because that's something that the whole family can agree on. And they have really good deals all the time. But Domino's is also a family pizza. Now, Domino's is too much for me, though. Oh. I'm so sorry. I am just thinking out loud. I do not mean to say these things about Domino's. I love Domino's so goddamn much. I love all the... Oh, I'm sorry. I cursed. I'm going to do that a lot as well. It's subconscious. Mother, if you hear this, I'm sorry. I am not the son that you deserve. You deserve better, and I cannot give that to you. I'm sorry if you hear this and you start crying, but it's who I am, and I'm sorry I can't be better. But anyway, I think my favorite might be Papa John's. It was never my favorite, but I started eating it so much because of the deals. It was like free pizza sometimes on T-Mobile, and I was like, what? So I ate that. And during the hurricane, because I live in South Texas, so we had a hurricane this year. Great fun times. It wasn't... That was sarcasm. People died. I was out of my house for like a week or two with no lights or water, which is fine. We're super lucky because we have a family that loves us, and we just hopped around from place to place. Sometimes we'd stayed in the car all day. We'd eat snacks from, I don't know, places. We were good. We were completely fine the whole time. When we got back, our house hadn't suffered that much damage. We are super lucky. And it still sucked, but it was okay in the end. And now I often think back to those times with a bit of nostalgia, because even though I was miserable during that time, I watched a lot of funny things. Some Game Grumps. I watched mostly Game Grumps. I watched Super Mega! I watch Super Mega every day. They make me smile. And I don't know. It was just peaceful. Being in a house with no electronics, just natural light and silence. Because I don't get silence all that much. It was peaceful at times. And it was cold, and it was a little rainy, and I think back to that a lot. And that is when I discovered that Papa John's has a really good dipping sauce, because it was desperate times, and desperate times called for desperate measures. So I dipped in the sauce, and I usually don't indulge sauces in their... I don't like sauces. I don't like any condiments. I'm a very bland, boring person. And it was so good, it changed my life. I get it every time now, even though we prefer thin crust. I love the regular crust so that I can dip solely for that reason. Not solely for that reason, also because I like a little bit of dough when I bite into something, you know. A pizza, mostly. Pizza, I love pizza. We went to Chicago for my cousin's wedding. They had Chicago-style deep dish pizza. I don't know if you've ever heard of Giordano's, but oh my god, it was a sauce cheese pie. It sounds disgusting, and it looked disgusting, and it disgusted my family. It is just too much cheese for them, but not for me. I am not a quitter, and I love cheese, and I love pizza. I ate the whole thing. I didn't. I ate a few slices, but that was enough. I loved it. I loved it so much. I would go back to Chicago solely for Giordano's pizza. Giordano's, if you want to sponsor me, go ahead. Any pizza place want to sponsor me? Papa John's, Pizza Hut, Domino's, Grimaldi's. Oh my god, Grimaldi's. I love Grimaldi's so much. If you've ever been to Grimaldi's, yeah, it's good. I tried wine for the first time after I turned 21, because Grimaldi's had sent me a free pizza for my birthday, which is another reason that Grimaldi's is the best place in the world. Move over, Disneyland. And I went and I got a wine. Their wine, Miligradi. I'm probably pronouncing that incorrectly, but it's their wine. They made it. It's named for 1,000 degrees. They're 1,000-degree ovens. Probably getting all this wrong because it's just at the top of my head. And it was terrible. I hated it. I do not like wine. At least theirs, which is sad to say because everything else is good. So I guess it's not too bad that they have one thing wrong with them. Right, this was a clusterfuck. I'm nearing 30 minutes, so I think I'm gonna stop because I have nothing else to say right now, at least, and I need some water. But I love all you guys, whoever you are listening to this. I love you unconditionally, unless you make me hate you. Alright, yeah. Hugs, kisses, best wishes. Goodbye.